Welcome back to another episode of the Retriever Handler podcast. I'm Bethany Keebler.
And I'm Jordan Keebler.
This is episode 12.
Number 12.
We have a special guest on today, Bob Owens. Very excited to talk to him. I know you are very excited to talk to him.
This is a big one.
Yeah.
Been having this in the works for quite some time. Had to get his schedule right, had to get our schedule right, mostly his schedule. We're pretty much free all the time. So we got him nailed down and excited for you guys to listen to this one.
Yeah.
And
before we start, what's anything new this week? You're leaving for Michigan on tomorrow. Tomorrow night. Ooh.
Training is going to take a big hit these next couple weeks.
Yeah, you're gone. You're gone this week. You're gone next week.
Yeah.
You're gone for a full week next week.
Yeah. So
maybe I'll take them out and
there you go.
Throw them a couple marks.
Throw them a couple bumpers. That'll be good. That's what they need.
They do. I think that's going to be the worst part is they're going to have no way to get their energy out with you being gone and not taking them to train. So I'm going to have to do something with them, like train them or just play with them a little bit extra. So
anything new in your world?
No, I don't think so.
Bethany just celebrated her 29th birthday.
Yep.
We went to Texas Roadhouse. Some people say that's trashy. That's right up our alley.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's who we are.
It is. We go to Texas Roadhouse for Valentine's Day too. Like, well, yeah, we do.
I mean, a couple times, but
yeah, like
had to get a little fancier for that.
Honestly, if we can't think of a place with like a better steak, then we don't go to the better place. Well, we don't go anywhere else because Texas Roadhouse, in my opinion, has the best steak. And if I'm craving a steak, it's a Texas Roadhouse. So,
it was a good meal.
Yeah, it was a good meal. This time our steak was a little bit overdone.
Yes, yeah.
I was bummed about. That was actually my first. I'm not saying it was a bad experience, but it was like lower than what I expected because our steak was overdone.
Sure was.
I'm so mad about. And I order it the same every single time. So
yeah, it was a little, I don't know, tough.
Yeah, it was tough. And, you know, when they say pink, I'm expecting pink. And there was zero pink inside this. And I don't like it well done. And I don't like it raw either. I kind of like it like medium well, like in between those two. And it's usually perfect. And it wasn't. So maybe this is like the start of the decline of Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
In my mind.
I hope not.
I know.
Rolls are out of this world.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much us in a nutshell, right?
Texas Roadhouse and
training dogs. Let's do Alpha Dog Nutrition. Complete nutritional supplements for every dog. We have been using Alpha Dog Nutrition supplements for over 5 years now and have not looked back. From healthier coats to solid stools, Alpha Dog Nutrition has a solution for every condition. Use code RH15 at checkout to save 15% off your next order. That's R as in retriever, H as in handler, RH15. Alpha Dog Nutrition, peak performance starts here. Use code podcast at retrieverhandler.com for 10% off your order there. Otherwise, I think that's all the housekeeping items we needed to talk about, right?
Yeah, we have shirts coming in.
Shirts are, I don't know when they're coming in. They're ordered and hopefully sometime soon. And still working on that hat too. These things take time. I mean, everyone's busy, so I'm not going to bug people until it starts to get a little bit out of hand. Then, I'll be like, hey, where's my stuff? But other than that,
that's it.
Here's Bob Owens. Welcome on by a very popular guest, one we've been wanting on since, I guess, we started this. I mean, Bob was probably one of the first people we thought of who wanted on here. So, Bob Owens, thank you for joining us. And how's everything going?
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much. Good, man. Just got done training Labrador Retrievers to go get things and bring them back to me.
That's the life, man. That's the life. You're living it.
Yeah.
We'll say that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We do a little rapid fire questions to start off, get to know you a little bit better, and just kind of break the ice a little bit. So,
I'll start.
Bethany, go ahead, start us off.
Okay, favorite movie of all time.
Favorite movie of all time? Probably throwback to high school days was Saving Silverman.
My God, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. What a
Coming to
pull.
Yeehaw, baby.
Holy cow.
Favorite TV show of all time.
I think The Office would probably be the one. That kind of humor and kind of shut your brain off and enjoy just giggling at Michael Scott and the antics of The Office. Plus,
Yeah.
when I was in, a sales role, I had bosses just like him.
Love that. If you could eat dinner with any famous person, dead or alive, who would it be?
It's a really good one. I must have, you sent me the list and I read them. That one I must have.
Well, don't tell our guests that, Bob.
I'm sorry. Sorry. This was premeditated, but I did have those ones off the top of my head, the first few.
Yeah.
Dead or alive? Man, I don't know. Anyone famous? I feel like I'd rather just hang out with my buds. Like, I don't get to see my buds enough. So I'd probably just pick, like, me and Blaine go to dinner and eat, like, Mondo ribeyes. I mean, I guess you could throw it to, like, Jesus, but I feel like he and I would, like, laugh a little bit, and they'd be like, man, I gotta act better here.
Yeah. Here are my sins.
Yeah, tighten up a little bit.
I gotta get my act together.
It'd be too deep at that point. Biggest pet peeve.
I think I could go the funny route and like a close talker. The people who just talk really close to your face and just don't give you personal space. But I also, as I was thinking, that popped in my head is people who are like the one-uppers. Like, oh, I just got a new car. Oh, you did? I got a car too. It's okay, guy, just easy. So I think the one-upper or the close talker.
Yeah. The worst. What would you be doing if you weren't training dogs professionally?
I'd probably still be in sales, I guess. But I think now that I've owned my own business, it would be difficult to go back to work for someone. So maybe entrepreneurship would be my route, whether I stayed in sales longer or whatever. But I think like the entrepreneurship bug, the marketing bug, the chase your dreams and that kind of thing always has been in the back of my head. So probably own my own business in a different industry that still excites me. Like I think back on like the even just dang man, like nowadays still it's long days, a lot of work, and if you don't enjoy it, it's hard to stick it out. And so I couldn't just go and be I don't know, paver, like do landscape. I don't know. I kind of like landscaping, but I'm just trying to think of something where it's like, you kick that off, but man, you get burnt out quick because of the long hours and stuff. So
And you don't.
you gotta love it.
Yeah. Your turn.
One word your buddies would use to describe you.
Probably can't say it on air. I think funny, fun to be around, goofball. Yeah. And maybe some choice words. PG.
Coffee or energy drink?
Black coffee.
Biggest fear?
Yeah, that one stumped me because we could go to a therapist and talk about that. But like nothing really makes me scared. Right? I don't have a fear of like bats or snakes or dying in an airplane or heights or anything like that. I think, really going deep is like me chasing these lofty dreams has limited the family time, the significant other and children and like things that are pretty important to me. And so that honestly, from the therapist side of the couch, like that probably scares me that I could potentially look back and be like, was all of it worth it? And on some days I say, hell yeah. And on other days I'm like, man, I really got to probably figure that out, you know?
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, that was deep.
It was deep.
From the therapist side.
Spend money or save money?
It's probably a good mix of both, right? Because I feel like I'm just a leaky. What are those things called where you like put veggies in and the water just drains out? Strainer. Yeah, I feel like that's what my wallet looks like because there's always something you need for the farm or, you know, chicken feed or whatever it is. There's money going out the window. But typically, I would say in the last 5 years, I've made a real decision financially to save money and be, still treat myself once in a while or take the trip and have an experience. Um, or like I bought a Land Cruiser. I mean, that was a stupid financial decision, but it's a badass truck.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like saving, retirement, investing, learning how to invest properly so that all the hard work can be enjoyed later in life, but also with the caveat of life is short. And if I get smoked by a bus tomorrow, I want to make sure that I bought the cruiser or went on a hunting trip or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Best dog trait, drive or obedient?
It's got to be the combo of both, right? Which is a crappy answer. But a lot of drive can be too much and not fun to work because they can't think through, like their brain isn't fast enough for their body. And then if obedient lacks drive, like I'd rather have a dog that's got a ton of go and loves their job and tries hard and has a good attitude and listens. Like you can have both. So I guess if you gave me a super obedient dog with low drive and a dog with a ton of drive but does it all by himself and is a jerk to be around, I might take the obedient one. As long as they like it. If they don't like it, then get out of here.
Yeah.
So I've been waiting for someone to say The Office, and we finally got it. Yeah. So I think you and I have the same sense of humor. And then Saving Silverman, I don't think, I mean, that's a pull. That is a pull. Great movie. Lugnut fixed it. Yeah, it's a great movie. So you and I definitely have the same sense of humor.
100%,
sure.
man. Neil, I want to party with you, Neil.
Yeah. And then I remember you did like sometimes you'll post stories of like you'll say like what movie is this from, and I think one of them was Old School, and ever since
that was going to be my next one.
I was like, yeah, like we have the same sense of humor.
Frank the Tank, baby, when it hits your lips.
Yeah, Frank the Tank. So before we get into this, little funny story. Without you knowing it, you taught me a lot about dog training. I didn't know anything about dog training, and I did a lot of programs, right? But you always kind of stuck out to me, just kind of with the way that you taught. And I'm going to say something right now, and I'm not making fun of the way you talk, okay? But and I don't know if it maybe is like a New York accent, but you kind of say GOOD a little bit different than I do. Okay.
Good.
So, yeah, you kind of say it like good, like good.
Good, right there.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And I say like good. And maybe that's the Pittsburgh in me. And ever since I watched your videos, I started saying like good. And Bethany was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's just the way I talk." And then I was watching one of your videos on YouTube on our TV, and like literally right when she goes across the TV, it's you saying good right there. And she's like, "Oh my God, that's why you say it, because he says it."
He literally picked it up out of nowhere. And I was like, where did you get that from? And he's like, I don't know. And then he just picked up your accent out of nowhere. Yeah. I was like, that's how you know he watches you so much.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah. And I like, and now
right there, good.
Yeah. And now I can't say it like the way I normally say it. Now I just.
Well, if you ask me, are you having a good day? I'd say I'm having a good day. I'd say good. Yeah. But it's just, I don't know. Yeah. You got to get into it, baby. You got to, good, right there. Good. Yeah. Good. Back.
Yeah. So wanted to say that before we jumped into
awesome.
this. On one of your prior podcast episodes, you mentioned that you could be an Olympic athlete, perhaps the one-man bobsled event. And you also mentioned that you're halfway there due to the fact that you would sled ride as a kid.
Mhm.
So now that you had time to marinate that and maybe hear some feedback from people that listen to that episode, I want to know, do you think you could medal in that event, not only participate in it?
No, no, no,
Okay.
no, 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 no metal.
Okay.
I mean,
No
could you
medal.
imagine though? Busted up old dog trainer, makes gold. Like what a
Yeah.
that's like a Rudy movie coming out. So the joke is we were at it's called SeaWe, the Southeastern Wildlife Expo in Charleston, South Carolina. And a bunch of the podcast sponsors like Ben from Onyx and Ray with Purina, we're all having a couple cocktails, and we had a few cocktails. And we're watching like curling, and I don't even remember what some of the other ones were. I'm like, there's no way, like, you can't just pick up figure skating and in 4 years be a figure skater. Those people have
Right.
been doing it since they were 4 years old. I was a swimmer in high school. There's a ceiling to swimming. I could never get below a certain time in my race. Curling, I don't know. That might be doable for a layman, but I feel like those people have been training for a while, and like, I don't even, I don't know. But I know the rules of bobsledding. When the beeper goes, you run fast and sled.
That's it.
You don't got to teach me much.
Yeah.
Don't fall off.
Can't argue that.
You put a hand on the side, it kind of swings you one way. So I kidded around. I'm like, dude, I 100% could do this. Like, they're like, you're not an Olympic athlete. I'm like, don't tell me I can't, because then I'm going to try. So now the realization is real life is full swing again, and a bunch of dogs in the kennel and competitions. And I would love to make the time to make my Olympic debut in the Winter Olympics, but it's probably not going to happen for me.
I think if a lot of the population were to quit their job and just focus 8 hours a day on a specific thing like that,
Yeah.
you're going to get good at it, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't like to fail. I like to win. I like competition. And it's sledding
It's sledding.
in the grand scheme of things.
Not much magic.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to sponsor the Bob's bobsledding deal, like,
yeah,
I'm in.
All right. We'll see what we can do with that.
Right.
Funds are a little bit tight right now, Bob.
Samesies.
Yeah, samesies. So you have a lot of episodes out there. You've been on a lot of podcasts, and I've always tried to search for and you've kind of hit on it like a little bit. Maybe you would disagree. Maybe you hit on it. Maybe you think you hit on it a lot, but I'm going to be selfish during this episode. And if my listeners don't care, I don't care, because we got Bob. So I'm going to be selfish here.
Yep.
I want to know your journey from like the very beginning to where you are now. Like, don't leave any details out. And if I interrupt you, I swear to God, I'm not rude. I want to know everything about you.
Sure.
Go.
Yeah, man. I grew up in central New York, and like, this is the early days, right? So my dad had a picture book, right? An album. People don't even have albums anymore. He had an album, and it was all his old hunting pictures, hunting rabbits, trapping, deer hunting. He did a semester out at the University of Wyoming. So they were jackrabbit hunting and just doing cool adventures hunting. And I loved the outdoors. I loved hiking. I loved shooting. And so I was fired up to be a hunter. He was a police officer, and he, with all the bad stuff they've got to deal with and see, shooting stuff went to the wayside, just didn't interest him anymore. And as well as he worked a lot of overtime. So if he worked all nights and days and this and that, when he finally had Saturday off or Sunday off, he wanted to be home, not out hunting. So unfortunately, I didn't have a hunting childhood. Like you see people taking their little kid turkey hunting or putting them in the duck blind and letting them water swat a bird or whatever. Like I didn't have that, but I had the aspiration of it. I had this like little book of pictures that I would look through and think of how cool that would be to be that guy. Um, Fast forward into like high school time frame, and that's when the Great Outdoor Games was on, I think, ESPN, and the SRS hadn't even existed yet, but they had the first dog event at the Great Outdoor Games here in Lake Placid, New York. And so I remember watching that and thinking, holy smokes, look at these dogs go. And then I got to go on my first duck hunt. It was with my grandpa, my uncle, my dad, and on like a guided, what ended up, I didn't know this, but it was just like a raised tammy mallard shoot, right? They knew that pond, they were coming to the pond, and we were shooting greenheads. I didn't know. I don't think anybody knew. I learned this 25 years later. And I got to watch a yellow lab do his job and was hooked. I'm like, this is now my calling. I was probably 15, maybe. And this is awesome, right? So then all I'm reading, I'm learning, I want to get a dog my own. I had a dog, a family pet. This is another one. So going even further back, like 8, 9 years old, I had a dog named Nelson. He was a chocolate lab. And my uncle had a yellow lab named Bailey. And Bailey could go anywhere with him, off leash. He, just, you didn't even have to talk to him. He just followed and hung and didn't mess with anything. He was just a great animal. But Nelson was not that. Nelson was stealing your winter gloves off you, taking your winter hat, running away when the door was open. He was lovable. He was a phenomenal companion, but he was a disobedient wild man. And I remember a family party, an adult party. So it's time for me to take Nelson for a walk. So I take him down the road, come back up the road, and Nelson knows everybody's at the house having fun. So he pulled me on the retractable lead, and I'm getting scuffed up on my belly,
Oh my
like
God.
drugged down the road. And I walk in the door, and I'm crying, and I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want a dog like this ever again.
Yeah.
So those are like some pivotal times in my brain of being a little kid where I'm like, dude, I want a really nice dog. I want him to listen and be off leash. I want to take him anywhere. I want a duck dog. I want a yellow lab. All these things, right? And then there was a TV show back in, I don't know, I was in high school and into college called Ducks Unlimited's Water Dog TV. It was Justin Tackett and Yella. And they traveled the entire country hunting and sharing their experience and the relationship that they had. And it wasn't just like a camera pointed at the sky looking at ducks and then once in a while the dog brought it back. It was truly the story of the dogs and the people, and the dogs were in the forefront. And nobody had ever done it, and nobody's done it since. Miss Shannon Nardi, who owns the SRS, she was like the head producer of that.
Oh.
She's bad to the bone lady. And that show like really stuck with me, right? That relationship. And I still don't have, quote unquote, my dog yet. So go to college. And during college, I bought every book, every DVD, you name it. British Method, Lardy, Evan Graham, everything. Wild Rose Way, Dokin's book, and what was his name? Dobbs? It was the Tritronics book. I mean, I read everything and just ingested it. And so during college, I kind of started my craft, if you will, of just being a sponge. After college, I was a salesman. Actually, after college, I went and played rugby in Ireland. That was a cool stint.
Oh, wow.
But
That's
the whole
interesting.
time, the guy like that hosted us, like the family that hosted us, was like, "What are you gonna do after college?" I'm like, I don't know, man. I got nothing, right? I'm just gonna go work for somebody." And got hurt, got sent home, and I got a sales job. I was a copier salesman, and that's where Michael Scott comes in. This dude was a mix between Macho Man Randy Savage and Michael Scott. And he'd be like, "Oh yeah, brother, we're gonna go pound the pavement today, brother. Let's go get 'em, make them calls, get 'em, buddy." And yeah, so he was cool. Not really.
Yeah.
I don't know where he is in life now. And then I did that for like 2 years. It was a good learning experience, right? Like taught me how to sell, taught me how to prospect and cold call and be okay with getting told no all the time. And then I got a job selling business insurance. And this is kind of where entrepreneurship really sparked because I always put people who own their own business on a pedestal. Like there's no way I'm not that smart, right? Um, I sucked in college at accounting and economics and just wasn't good at. I was good at the marketing. I was good at some of the other things, but those things were terrible. So I just kind of put these people on a pedestal that there's no way I could do it. Fast forward to the insurance, and I'd go into these business owners' offices and you'd start talking to them, and they're like, just like me. They
Mm-hmm.
just were hardworking and didn't quit and shot for the moon and started a roofing business and started a trucking business and started a restaurant, started a brewery and started this and started that. And then all of a sudden they're driving badass cars and have lake houses. And it's like, every time I get a sale, I make $100, they make 10,000 or whatever. Right. It was like a weird number. Like you close $1 million deal, you get a 10 grand bonus. Sweet. Right. Appreciate that. So I started talking to some of these people about my entrepreneurship ideas, and a couple of them were pretty cool guys that took me under their wing a little bit and kind of pushed me towards it. And that's where Lone Duck Outfitters came from. I was a t-shirt and hat company. Um, I started making deals with Dogtra e-collars and Gunners Up wingers and bumper companies and whistle companies and this and that. And I developed like a little inventory and an online e-commerce. And I would say I was pretty lucky in the timing of it because Facebook, when I started, Facebook was just for college kids. There was no ads on it. There were no parents and grandparents on it. No, nothing. So for me to be a new business coming in there and offering a Gun Dog of the Month contest, you guys send me your picture, Fido, owned by Tom, whatever, then where you're from, and blah, blah, blah. And the most likes wins. So all these people would start sharing the page, right, to get more likes and their family and friends. And it, quote unquote, blew up, For me, I thought I was king of the day, right? We had like 15,000 followers on there and hundreds of likes and whatevers. And so that kicked off. And so people were buying hats and t-shirts. I mean, I sent stuff to England and Australia and,
Wow.
just kind of knucklehead who had living in his parents' basement, slinging t-shirts and hats. And then I would drive, because of all this, I started making contacts in the industry, professional retriever trainers that were like my pro staff. So Blaine was one of the original pro staffers, right? And I got to go down to Georgia and stay with him, my buddy Joe. Like I could sleep on their couch. I would sell gear at a hunt test Saturday, Sunday, train all week with Buck, sell on Saturday, drive home on Sunday, and go to work Monday. And then sell gear on the internet and do my Gun Dog of the Month contest. And Instagram started becoming a thing, and that kind of took off too. I mean, just hustled, really, really hustled. And then I started taking crappy jobs that would allow me more free time to grow the business. So the next job was oil and auto supply sales, and that was miserable. I drove a beat up PT Cruiser for them all over town, slinging light bulbs and fuses and oil and windshield washer fluid and brake pads and whatevs. But I probably only worked 5 or 6 hours a week or a day. So I would get up in the morning, train Buck, do some content stuff, go to work. They thought I was working the whole time. I'd get done early. I'd go pheasant hunting or whatever I felt like doing in the afternoons. and stay up all night trying to figure out Facebook and Instagram and, YouTube. Even YouTube. I mean, you can go back to the original first few videos. It's crazy. Unreal, really, when you think about it. My dad filmed them. I hired a kid, a local guy. He came out and we did like gunfire introduction and heel work, and I don't even remember some of the other ones, but it was just like, this is gonna be it. Um, and then from there, I got an opportunity. So a guy named Rhett down in South Carolina, he offered me a position. He was one of my buds, and he offered me a position to be his young dog trainer. I think at that point, like, I was probably 26 or 7. He was probably 30, right? So I think I was his first assistant. And he had a bird boy or two, but he was just rattling off dogs like crazy. And I came in and trained about 18 to 24 dogs for him, and he had his 18 to 20, and we rock and rolled for about a year. Did a little HRC, did some AKC junior, like junior and started, building duck dogs, and up through T pattern, basically. That was kind of I wouldn't even say expertise at the time, but that's what I cut my teeth on. A lot of dogs, a lot of personalities had to deal with. Um, it was a great experience, and so learned a lot. After like 10 months or so, a little bit homesick, running out of money. When you're doing those positions, just for anybody who thinks they're going to go and do that stuff and doesn't really know anything, you ain't making much, right?
Right.
Yep.
So time to go home. And also throughout that whole southern trip, like the South really took lone duck and like carried me. So when I would sell stuff at hunt tests, I mean, we'd have really big sales. And it was just because I was friends with you befriend everybody. And so they'd be like, yeah, give me another leash. Yeah, I'll buy that thing. Or my my nephew would love that hat. Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I thought, man, I'm gonna be the next like Avery Outdoors. Basically was my goal. I'm gonna sell stuff. I'm gonna be able to work from anywhere in the world. I'm gonna be able to train my dogs, and I'm gonna have people buy stuff online and be Avery Outdoors. That didn't work out, right? And so when I got home, I was probably 28 or 9, I guess. And a friend of mine had a warehouse. He rented a warehouse. He was doing like cabinetry on the side. And I didn't have a place to house dogs, and I couldn't afford rent anywhere. Like in life, nobody would take me. Plus, I had 2 dogs now. And so most apartments, I just couldn't afford if you had 2 dogs, and I was broke. So he let me sleep there. I legit slept in a warehouse for probably, I would guess, a year.
Wow.
At that spot with free rent, building the business. And I remember turning 30 and going, I've got to do something. I mean, like on paper or like on the internet, I probably looked like I was doing pretty good, but the bank account wasn't, right? You can't make a living off of 8 dogs or 6 dogs at a time. You've got to get numbers in, and you've got to do better on your online sales. But let's say you bought a hat from me. Maybe the hat was $20. Well, I spent 15 on it. So you're making $5. How many hats do you have to sell to make 40 grand?
Yeah,
It's a lot
exactly.
of hats.
A lot of hats.
That's hard,
A
right?
lot of hats, right? So it all looked good and felt good, and I was seeing progress, but I remember being 30 going, something's got to change. And literally that 30th birthday, from then on, it went from 8 dogs to 12 dogs to 16 dogs to 18 dogs to 24 dogs to 30 dogs.
Wow.
And I haven't really looked back. At some point, Kevin and I decided we were going to start a podcast. I mean, we didn't even know what that really was back then. Like, I guess we just talk, interview our friends. It'd be cool to have guests on that are way cooler and smarter than me. Like, I mean, I look back, Pat Burns and Pat Nolan, and I don't know, the places it's allowed me to go and hunt and meet people, the whole gamut of my career is kind of crazy because I'm still just a meathead. Just me.
So
Um,
you're living in a warehouse at that point, and you're training dogs at that point too?
yeah, yep.
So where are
So
the dogs at?
yeah, so in the warehouse. So that spart lasted about maybe a year, and then I was able to afford rent on the nice spot in the warehouse. So think about like a strip mall. There was a gymnastics place, there was a bird feeding place, bird seed place, there was a barber shop, and then there was this empty warehouse space. And so I ended up being able to afford the nice section where it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that good either. Like I had a mattress in there that I'd sleep in. I used to take hose showers, and at the time I was dating um, my ex, and she lived 30 minutes away. So I would get up at 5 something in the morning, get to my kennel warehouse at 6, air dogs, drive 30 minutes to my training grounds, train all day, 4, 5, 6, 6:30, whatever. Drive 30 minutes back, air and feed, air again, and drive back to Syracuse in 30 minutes. And I'd get home at 8:30, 9:30 at night. And so some nights I would just crash out on the couch or the mattress in the warehouse. And I did that for probably 3 years. No days off, 7 days a week, no employees. I'd have like little part time help throwing birds and stuff. Back in the day, too, I didn't even have a four wheeler. I would walk the wingers out into the field, set them up, walk back, bring a dog up, launch the wingers, heel the dog to each winger, reset it all, and do obedience on the way. Put them up. I mean, you do what you got to do until you can afford a trailer that could haul a four wheeler. And then, okay, you got that, but now you got to afford a four wheeler. And,
Yeah.
it wasn't all freaking sunshine and rainbows, man.
So how were you getting the dogs to and from the training grounds at that point? Did you have like a
Trailer, a big
yeah, do you have
trailer.
like an 8-hole trailer or
Yeah.
what?
So I started off with a $650 Shamrock 4-hole topper, and
Okay.
I could fit two personal dogs in the back seat of my truck, 4 in the topper, and then I could put 2 like Vera kennels or whatever in the bed of the truck underneath with my wingers and ducks and stuff. So what is that? 6, 7, 8 dogs I could haul. Um, and then I saved up. Actually, I didn't save up. I went to KeyBank, shout out KeyBank, because no one else would do it for me. They gave me a $10,000 business line of credit, and I wrote a $10,000 check for a dog trailer, which Blaine Tarnecki has to this day. It's like an 8-hole Ainley. And so I could do, 4 or 6 in my truck topper area, and then 8 there. And then I got a 6-hole topper and the 8-hole. And then I bought the 18-hole gooseneck.
These first like 6 or 8 clients of yours, did they just come overnight? Like, or was it, how did they know who you were?
How'd you market yourself?
Yeah, how'd you get those clients?
Yeah. So one of my buddies, I actually talked to him today for the first time in probably 3 years. Just we got busy with our lives. But his name's Mike, and Mike sat there one day. That's the one who let me stay in the warehouse for free for the first 6 or 8 months. And he's like, "How much are you going to charge for obedience?" I was like, "I don't know. Let's just say back then it was like $700 or $500. I don't even remember." And he's like, "How much are your bills?" And at the time, let's just say $2,000 a month. And he's like, "Okay, so that means 4 people need to say yes to you this month to just break even." I'm like, yeah. So you go get 4 yeses. And I was a salesman. I know how to go get yeses. I mean, I'd set up a table at a pet supplies, PetSmart, whatever, and have a booth and say, I can do obedience. And I'd have Memphis on a dog stand or Buck on a dog stand. Um, I would put things on like even local family, like mom pages of our neighborhood growing up, like, hey, holidays are coming up. If you need your dog boarded and obedience trained, hit me up. But the first client, I played rugby with him, and he had a real mediocre chassis, real mediocre. And I put a senior title on her. and she was a pheasant hunting fool. Like, turned out great, but I mean, nowadays I'd probably say, hey, bud, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So that was my first client. And then I had a golden retriever obedience client. And this lady would go on work trips all the time. So, like, every other week or, 3 times a month, she'd be like, hey, can you take her again for 3 days? Sure. Boom. I had a dog named, Scruffy Max. Scruffy Max was a pit bull mix. And I was walking through a Country Max, like, pet store, buying food or whatever it was. And these people are getting 80 years old, getting yanked around by this pit bull. I'm like, hey, I could, this is what I do for a living. I could help you. Oh, sure, great. Same deal. If they were old, retired, they would send Scruffy Max back all the time. And so, I don't know, I had like a good group of young people that believed in me. And then they would tell their friends and they would tell their friends. And I don't really remember when it started becoming like, I found you on YouTube or Instagram and Facebook. I want to send your dog. I don't really remember when that started happening, but the early days was word of mouth and humping it in places that people would be where they needed help with their dogs. And then I did a good job for them. Just worked really, really hard.
Yeah. I keep seeing you grab your beer and you look like you're going to drink it, but then you put it back down because you keep
I know.
talking.
It's because it's gone, bud. Let me get another one. We got to reload. We got to thirst in the worst.
Yeah. So you go from after the warehouse, do you move to where you are currently, or is there an in between? Okay. So you move to like your farm, right?
Correct. Loan de Chateau.
Yeah. So, and do you have to build a kennel? Do you have, like, walk me through that?
Sure. It's kind of difficult finding, being in central New York, it's kind of difficult to find enough land, proper zoning, places where the neighbors aren't right on top of you, and or a subdivision is getting built and they're going to be hearing boom guns and duck calling and shooting all the time, right?
Yeah.
So my ex and I, we were engaged and whatnot. She and I had been looking for probably 2 or 3 years, just going at different properties and different houses, and none of them really fit. Or then you'd be like, this one's not bad. I'll go to talk to the code enforcement. Nope, not happening. And so we ended up finding this place, and I think it was 5 years ago, give or take, 5.5 years ago. Originally it's a cow farm. Then it became a horse farm. And so the barn is renovated into horse, use. So there's a bunch of different paddocks, like fencing area, 50 acres, spot for my T pattern, spot, fence. We took out different fencing and, built airing yards. And then it's got about a 20-acre backfield that was relatively flat, tiny little bit of, like, how they tile them for drainage.
Yeah.
So there's a tiny bit of little swales here and there. Traded 2 dogs in training for 2 clients that come and dig my pond. The kennel facility is okay, and that's just being honest with everybody, right? We are actually in the process of, and life hits you, right? You ask about saving money and spending money. Like, I'm back in the spending zone. Like, had to save up, purchase the house. Now you're back into, okay, we've got some funds. We're going to build probably a 24-run kennel this summer. So that ball's rolling where they will have a little bit more space. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, exactly where they are now is safe, quiet, warm in the winter, cool in the summer. It just could, and like we keep it super clean, it just could be a little bit better. And so that's what we're doing. But you can't just spend. You've got to make up ground and then do it intelligently and like prioritize,
Yeah.
You have a question?
No, go ahead.
So can you do everything on a daily basis on your farm, or do you still branch out to neighboring properties?
That's a good question. Yeah, I lease a property about 15 minutes away, which is also why we kind of chose this area too. So remember when I said I used to have to drive 30 minutes to train? I leased this property. Now we're 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything's so much closer.
But in the grand scheme of things, I could train a master hunter right here. You know,
Yeah.
they wouldn't be as well versed as ones that travel and see different ponds, but you get in and outs down the shores, cheating singles, swim by. Everything can be done right here. And you can do about furthest mark, you do about 400 yards. I put
That's
hay
all you need.
bales in the field to create different, obstacles, if you will. And then when we start mowing, we mow strips in different patterns every, 3 weeks. We'll mow a different pattern into the field. And yeah. So, but I do travel, right? And then I've got other properties that I can train on within a 45-minute ride that I might hit up a couple times a summer. And then we go south.
So this is more so because I really want to farm whenever we have the funds to have one. But do you have any other animals on your farm, or is it just the dogs? And you said chickens earlier, so I caught
Yeah.
that.
I love my sweet babies. Yeah, they're the highlight of my day. I've got 24 chickens. I've got 1 turkey because my nephew Jack, Kevin is the other podcast host on my podcast, and his son Jack would pester me for a turkey. Like, why he thinks a turkey would be cool, I don't know. But I'm like, you know what? Well, I'll get the kid a turkey.
Yeah.
So Jack, and then I go, what do you want to name him? He goes, Jack-O. Like, all right.
Of course. Yeah.
Clever. So we've got Jacko the turkey. I've got probably 15 or 20 homing pigeons.
Nice.
Which back in the day I did remember how hungry I sounded living in a warehouse? I would train anything under the sun other than aggression. And even then I would go to those people's homes and do it, which sucked. But I would do bird dogs and I would do Navida. And so I needed homing pigeons and chucker and all that stuff. And so I've got a chucker pen, flyer pen for mallards and pheasants, and then homing pigeons. And even though I don't do bird dogs for the public anymore, I still have 2 myself for grouse and woodcock hunting. And I honestly just love watching them fly around the farm. So
Yeah,
keep
that's
them.
cool.
Yeah. I dabble with the idea of doing like sheep because we have a 5-acre field that is closer to the road and we don't train in. And I'm like, or like I really, really, really want a horse bad, but it's just that's a
lot.
I don't have time to do anything anyways. Like, when do I think I'm going to use a horse?
I was just about to say that you seem busy as it is, let alone having all of these animals, but I really want cattle and I really want horses. And my parents do have 2 horses, but they're old and honestly, they're just there to be there at this point. So, but that's a dream of mine. So I just had to ask.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Yep.
At what point did you realize that, all right, I have enough dogs here now. I need to find a place down south to go for the winter to keep these dogs in shape and to get them ready for this next hunt test season?
I've been going south for a long time though. Even when it was with the 8-hole trailer and the topper. So one of my clients has become like family to me. Their kids call me Uncle Bob. When I was in one spot in South Carolina, I went to their house for Easter, drove 2 hours to go spend Easter with them. They're going to come up this summer and, spend a couple days. Like, they are family to me. And so back in the day, they wanted their dog to go north for the summer to get out of the heat and keep training. And so that's how that happened. And then it was like, well, I think I spent 1 or 2 winters up here, and it's just damn near impossible. I mean, it's really hard. You can't do water, so now you're skimping people on water work. That's not right. Or I wouldn't take gun dogs, and I would just do a bunch of obedience dogs. And I used to take like winter gloves, and I'd leave my truck running and put wet winter gloves on the heater thing, right? Dry them off and just have gloves stacked across so I could have warm gloves. Miserable though. You're kicking landing pads. I call them landing pads. So you like create a circle where that duck is supposed to land, and your winger's shooting it off, trying to make it land there. Like, it just is miserable. and mildly unproductive. You can do it. I did it. It's not fun. And you're kind of maintaining with a little bit of growth versus when you're in nice weather. So they offered it. Her mother had a house right down the road. They have a big 2-acre fenced in yard and a barn. So I would strap 18 crates to the top of my trailer and ratchet strap them down and drive down, put them in the barn. And that's still what we do. I leave the kennels there now, but we stack them up, put them in a corner, and next winter the kids pull them out and get ready for Uncle Bob to show up, and the barn's all ready for me. And so usually I'll stay in Charleston for 3 to 5 weeks and train there. And then I think you asked, like, how did you get it to, sort of down there? But I put an ad on Facebook, like, hey, looking for more training grounds in the South to lease in the winter. What you got? And this lady named Kara Mock, who is a field trialer. Her husband was a field trialer, had a national field champion back in the late 80s or early 90s, have a gorgeous 150-acre property that 2 log cabin. So one of my workers can stay there and I can stay in the other one, and her log cabin. And, she's become like family now too. Bonfires at night, couple beers, burgers on the grill, go out to eat, stuff like that. And so we train there for about 2 months, and then I come home.
So yeah, the way you described all that was like exactly what we were looking for. Like that was awesome detail. And a lot of that I have heard on prior podcasts, but like the whole like living in a warehouse, like I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Like you truly were like roughing it. And like I think that's what it takes to get to where you are, right? Like nothing's ever easy. The most successful people don't have the easiest road. They have to toughen out and persevere, right? And that after hearing that, that's like exactly what you did, which that was awesome to hear. So thanks for sharing all of that.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to talk about your recent launch of your Zero to Duck Dog online course.
Mhm.
We love it. We bought the advanced course, which was like perfect. Like right when that came out, it was like exactly kind of where we were going. So the timing was perfect.
For us, at
Yeah,
least.
for us. At least.
Good.
Yeah, I can't talk for everyone, but um, there's so many other programs out there, not so many, but numerous programs out there that are very popular.
Mhm.
What made you think that you could do something like this, that it would be able to sell? And did you maybe even see some gaps in these other programs that are already established that, made you think, okay, I can do this essentially better?
Sure. Well, it's funny. A lot of my career, like going back a tiny bit to like snafus and things that you wish or thought or whatever, there were no online training programs. You know, you could buy the DVDs and you could read the books, but you couldn't call Mike, or like I never thought I could call Mike Lardy. I never thought I could call Chris Aiken. I never thought I could call Pat Burns. Now people can call me, which,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. It's also a little hard on me sometimes, so people need to respect the voicemails.
Yeah.
But, it's hard. But I guess going back, like it didn't exist. So when I moved south to train with Rhett, I was like, we should film a couple dogs and sell it. Teach people what you know. Because at that point, I didn't know Jack, right? So I'm like, you do. You've got HRCH Master Hunters. You know how to train a dog. Let's film you. I'll be the mic guy and you train them. No, he didn't want to do that, which is fine. But then boom, Freddie King comes out with his $5 a month. You get everything, right? And I'm like, damn it, he stole my idea. And then at some point, like Cornerstone came out, and Barton's a great friend of mine. And I was like, damn, I'm starting to be late to the game. But I also understand that you can put a podcast out there If nobody is following you, nobody is listening. They don't just scroll and be like, hey, I'm going to start listening to this one. The market's flooded, right? You have to start an audience. And so my audience was growing and I needed to provide value to them for free. So the podcast, the YouTube, everything has been for free for most of the career up until probably the last 2 years, right? With Patreon, where people can get coached by me one-on-one. Maybe it's 3 years now. I don't know. But the point is, everything was free. Give it away. It's like, do you guys watch Gary Vaynerchuk? Jab, 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 right hook. Give, give,
Yep.
give, and then have a little bit of an ask. Give, like give yourself to the audience, to the people, and provide true value. And if they don't think you're valuable, they won't stay. But if you're providing real value, entertainment, education, whatever it is, this is for anybody who wants to start a business, this is the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You give and you give and you give, and then you can ask. And so I gave. Ethan from Standing Stone was Ethan and Kat were massive friends of business, like coaching me into it. They had already built this stuff. I don't know if they'd had a course when we first met, but their YouTube freaking bananas. They just are extremely intelligent business people and marketing. And when they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. And they posted a video on YouTube every day for 365 days. And they went like this. And then their online sales went like this. And then their dog, like the dog kennel, boom, puppies, boom, everything, boom, let's build a course, boom, right? It's not rocket science. It's just hard work and persistence and being good at it. So I also think that there was a piece of it that's like early on in my career, where like, who am I? Right? I'm not Pat Burns. I'm not Pat Nolan. So when you say like, you made a comment about like, why is mine better, or how did I make it different, or whatever. Dude, don't buy mine. Go buy Pat Nolan's. Go get Pat Burns, right? But everybody else's, I'd probably say we are very in depth, very thoughtful. We show mistakes. We show when it doesn't go right, because it's not going to go right. Like when I bought, and I'm just going to keep using names because it's whatever, but like Mike Lardy is probably the #1 dog trainer in our industry of all time. But in his DVD series, you saw dogs doing the task. This is T pattern. Dog stopped, dog changed direction, this and that. There was very little troubleshooting. There was very little like, what if my dog no goes? Well, we hear Nick here, or take a step forward, or, indirect pressure, all that stuff was not really discussed. And so I think just doing YouTube and our courses, I would say at the current state of the course, it's probably 80% on YouTube, 20% not on YouTube, which is going to start flipping as we continue to progress with the course, where more is going to be only available on the course, and less on YouTube. So, but with that being said, like I just was training dogs. Hey, we're pulling this one out next. Hey, we're pulling this one out next. We're doing this. We're doing that. And so it was very much like, I remember one was Rambler's T pattern. And I walk out there going, Rambler's about 80% done. And it looked like I had never taught him T pattern a day in his life. And we kept rolling. Right? Or a dog doing a simple Y marking drill, and the dog can't come up with the bird. Well, now I got to get on the radio and have my bird boy help the dog, and and then you can spin off into, well, how do I work with a bird boy, and blah 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 blah. So I do feel like for all the people buying, right, consumers, buy them all.
Yeah.
Because more knowledge is going to make you better. Because I don't know everything that's in Cornerstone. I don't know everything in the Retriever Roadmap. I don't know everything in Pat Burns's and Pat Nolan's. I mean, I've watched theirs, but the point is, I bought every DVD, I bought every book, and I read them cover to cover multiple times and wore those DVDs out because I was eat up by it. So I'm not saying mine is the best at all, but a little nugget from me might help you. I also think, the way I show force fetch is pretty good versus the other ones. A couple of them don't do force fetch, so that's a hole
Yeah.
in the training where my dog, I'll get a message on Patreon, hey, I did this, dog's dropping the bird still coming out of the water. Okay, well, here we go. Or I'm getting popping and no going issues. Well, now in the advanced course, we had a couple dogs in my program that were popping and unconfident and this and that. It's like, we should film this and how I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to fix it. I
Uh-huh.
don't know. We got to work on it. It's not going to be
Yes.
perfect today. It might not be perfect in 2 months, but I bet 3 or 4 months from now, we're going to fix it. And
Yeah.
here's what I'm going to try and do it. So I think when you ask the question of like, is mine better or worse or this or that, I think all of them are good. And I think filling your brain up like a sponge on everybody's things are going to make you a more well-rounded handler, more well-rounded trainer. And when the shit hits the fan with you and your dog, you're going to be like, boy, I saw this in Cornerstone. I saw
Yeah.
this in Pat Burns. I saw this in Pat Nolan's. I saw this in Zero to Duck Dog.
Yeah.
So that's what I think, bud.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, and that's exactly what we did, right? We have your course.
We did
We
it fun.
started with Cornerstone years ago. Then we got Freddie King. So I'm getting your
Yeah,
perspective. I'm getting Barton's perspective and Josh, and then I'm getting Freddie King. And then I got to find out what works best for me, right, and my dogs. So if you combine all of those together, like you're gonna find success. I
I
think at
agree.
least.
I do
Yeah.
think that there is value in actually picking one that you lean in on and
Yeah,
following that
absolutely.
pretty closely. Because if you get into this like picking and choosing too much, then maybe someone's program puts this here and I do it that way, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
You could be skipping steps and now all of a sudden you've got gaps in the experience of the dog and could get yourself into trouble. So I do find value in, like, I would say on average, the way I train would be pretty heavy on like Lardy and Evan Graham,
yeah,
right? And so those are, pretty linear
Yeah.
processes. And like during the linear, you're still throwing marks. During the linear, you're still doing obedience. During the linear, but you're making progress towards T pattern, towards
yeah,
swim by, towards land blinds and water blinds, all that jazz, right? Steadiness.
yeah,
Um, so yeah,
One thing you said that I kind of really like is that you were talking about the imperfection and like this isn't going to be like your course isn't going to be like okay, this is how you do it and that's it. It's going to be okay. Somebody fails and this is how we fix it. Or it's not failing, it's just learning. It's, those learning curves. And I feel like that is like so awesome because it's not that we have trouble with it, but it's more so of like, okay, we read all these courses and we're like, okay, here's this from here and here's this from here and here's this from here. And we're doing all the right things. And then our dog will do something that we have never seen before ever.
yeah,
And it's like, what do we do? So I think I'm not trying to answer it for you, but what's missing from the market, but like, that's what I feel like that yours is providing that
yeah,
some of the others weren't, in
yeah,
my
for sure.
opinion. So,
I
um,
appreciate it. I mean, I think
yeah,
it was almost inadvertent too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like you just,
yeah,
if you're really training, I'm going to
yeah.
pull
You
out
see
the
it on.
dog that's on this. I'm
Yeah,
not going to pull out Master Hunter Quinn to do T pattern.
yeah.
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
If someone were to buy your Zero to Duck Dog course, and let's say they complete it with 100% proficiency, which is subjective, I guess, to who it is, but what level of hunt test do you think that dog could complete?
You should be a very well versed senior level dog. That would be my honest opinion. I think master level, we're constant. So that's the cool part about, I mean, it's my course. I can do whatever the heck I want. So we're growing it, right? So like this year, we're filming, it's just not going to be done. If you bought the course, which you guys said you did, you have a username and a password. Forever, you will have that course, just as if you bought a DVD. But what will be cool is the course will always be improving and evolving. So this winter, I had a couple dogs that I don't have a force fetch table for tow hitch, so I ear pinched them. So we filmed that. So now instead of force fetch just being toe hitch, it's going to be toe hitch and ear pinch. And then we're going to add to the like even the more advanced stuff, right? So I feel like what we rolled out into the world for our advanced course is how to get that sucker to sit on a whistle good, how to do T pattern, how to start introducing land blinds, how to do swim by. I feel like I pat myself on the back. I feel like I did swim by as in depth as I could.
I agree.
And then, teaching the concepts that you will see down the shores, cheating singles, channel blinds, all that stuff. And I think if you follow that pretty closely, you should be able to go to a senior test and smoke it. I think the concepts and the no holds barred at a master test, that's where it's like, man, we got to start thinking out of the side of the box to show people setups that they're going to see and how we train for them. Because you don't just go out into the backfield and just do a setup that day that's going to resemble a hunt test. We're working on different things like poison birds and, multiple marks with interrupted this and indented that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like that probably needs to continue to progress that advanced course. But I think it gives people the confidence and tools to say, good, right there, back, and kick that sucker loose, and it'll run through a field or jump into a pond and cast where you tell it to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Do you agree after watching it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I like right now I'm at like I was like what you did, like the popping issue. Like I'm kind of right around there because one of my dogs has started to pop. The pilot pops. Deuce will just run straight back for 7,000 yards if I let him. So thank God. But so that's kind of where I'm at. And then like work's kind of getting in the way right now. But in like 2 weeks, I plan on doing swim by. But I've seen all those videos already. And I would agree about your swim by remarks. Like it is very in depth, and I think that's like something that people, at least the people that I'm around, like don't fully grasp is what swim by is and how to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think a lot of the things that we see, and nobody's perfect, right? So
no,
I have my faults as a trainer, you have your faults, you name them, everybody's got strengths and weaknesses. But I think if we were to go and talk about like a seminar that I've done or at a hunt test watching other people run their dogs, I think there's like common things that just kind of drive me crazy, right? And it's like lack of obedience and discipline. Doesn't mean you got to be hard on them. Might mean it, but it doesn't mean it. It just means that they need to be disciplined, self-discipline in the heat of the moment to do the right thing and not needing to be asked 80 freaking times. Sloppy force fetch, dropping the bird at their feet and shaking off and fetch, or like yanking the bird from them and then sending quickly. Like there's a lot of little things that I think if people slow down and look at others who are doing it pretty cleanly and nicely, how to do it. Now, going back to maybe the whole wraparound is like people don't spend enough time on certain steps like force fetch, like steadiness and upholding a true steady standard on T pattern, on swim by. So when you're talking about swim by was super in depth, it's like most people just kick them loose, and if they stop and cast a little bit, they're done.
yeah.
And I'll say, with that force fetch idea too, like a lot of people just get them to do it and they don't push. So it's almost like a fun fetch, not a forced fetch. And so when you think about it, why do we force fetch? Do you know why we force fetch?
To learn to you're putting me on the spot on my own damn podcast.
I know, it's your show. I've turned the
Do
table,
it.
son.
It's it. Okay, I think I know this answer.
You do know the answer. It's on the tip of your tongue.
to teach the dog how to turn pressure off.
Yes. And they're learning how to learn. Right.
Yeah.
So it is pressure, it is compulsion, but it's learning how to learn, right? Yeah. And so the same idea like if it just becomes fun fetch where they will do it, but the pressure really isn't high enough, or like they're just doing it in a light form, they're just doing it. Now, when the going gets tough and they don't do it and you turn the pressure up, they skedaddle and don't respond properly, right? Because they didn't learn how to handle either more pressure, or just the correct amount is really the answer. The correct amount of pressure, not just more, just enough.
Yeah.
The same idea with swim by, right? If you can stop in the water and cast, most people are like, sweet, let's run water blinds. But what really swim by is teaching the dog the rules of water, how to get in properly, how to stay in properly. That water's a good place to be, to tread water and not like loopily slide this way while they're treading water and now they're 15 yards offline. And, it's really teaching them the rules, and then they know how to be successful. If they get into trouble, now you have a tool in the tool belt to get them out of it and get them to be successful.
Yeah.
If they don't know, they don't know. And then it's unfair to lose your patience, get into their butt, any of that.
Yeah.
If they understand, kind of let it rip. But
Yeah.
if they don't understand, it's not fair.
Right. I think you just answered my next question.
Yeah, is that I think that is our next question. Is that your, like, you were talking about lack of obedience, sloppy fork, are those like your biggest pet peeves? Not pet peeves, I'm saying biggest mistakes maybe that amateurs make that you see on from a professional trainer side?
Yeah, those would probably be the big ones, right? Like, remember you asked me about obedience and drive?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which would you rather have? I think some people will get like an ego. So they'll be like, my dog can do a 400-yard mark. My dog's a fire-breathing dragon. My dog's this, my dog's that. And it's like, sweet, bro, but you got to yell at it 800 times to get it to do something that you want. I don't get, like, that's not fun to hunt with. That's why we all are doing this, is to have a great hunting companion. It's spurred into competitions. It's spurred into, really advanced training and just enjoying training. Like, in the grand scheme of things, if it's not going to be fun to hunt with, what's the point? So, or be around or train. If you got to constantly yell and burn and yell and burn and whistle and burn and da da da, that's not a good dog. Or, well, it's not a well-trained dog,
Right.
right? And so I think my biggest pet peeve is people like mistaking high drive and all that for being a badass dog. Like, I'd rather have high drive and composure, high drive and team player, positive attitude and fun to train, and open the box and boom, he smacks his head into the thing going, put it on me, bud. And, but then comes out, takes a leak and spins into heel and walks nicely like he's just pop, 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 that's drive, but he's doing it. He doesn't need to be asked 80 times. When he sits his butt down, he's not creeping forward. He's poised and breathing and just, and then rips. You can have both, but it comes down to training. So I think that would be like a big thing where people mistake that, or pushing, like, it's no fault to anybody's, right? You don't know what you don't know, but pushing the dog beyond what their capabilities really are in their training and testing them to see if they can do it. And then you put them in a bad position, or they do good today, but the next 5 days suck because they're in over their head and you think they can do it all.
Yeah.
So setting the dog up for success is a big one. Not mistaking drive and enthusiasm for being a badass. Being a badass is having that attitude, but being under control. That's impressive.
Yeah. I agree with that. We're getting to the end here, so I know you're busy. We only have, I think, 31 more questions. So
let them rip, bud. I'll stop rambling. I can keep going.
We only have a few.
No,
You're good. You're good.
why? So you're you usually do AKC, right? So why do you choose that over HRC or like SRS?
So I've done them all. Back when I started, I did HRC. I did NARA. I've done NAVDA with the bird dogs. But AKC is just very predominant up here in the Northeast. And I'm also, to be very honest with you and all the listeners, I'm gone all the time. Like if I had to chase every other weekend to something, I already kind of am. Like
Yeah.
I'm booked from May 8th till like September, right? So
Yeah.
I'm already spread thin. I also think like I find a master test pretty challenging still, to some degree, most degrees, right? That you can get anything in the kitchen sink at a master test, and it makes you really think about their setup and what dogs are going to do this and who's going to struggle on it and how do I get them through it and really kind of analyze it. And so I still like that. I like that aspect. Um, I haven't ran HRC in forever, so I'm not even going to speak to it. It's just I can't do everything all
Yeah.
the time. There are other people who do. God bless them. But yeah, remember the therapy talk? I'm trying to be better. So that's kind of why. And then I've been dabbling in the field trials and I really like it. It's just, it's hard to be great at everything.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the other part of like HRC and AKC and field trials and SRS and this and that. Like, I'm still one guy, what are you going to be good at and be really damn good at it? And I think the field trials are really fun. And I have a good group of dogs right now that this summer will put a big emphasis on running cues and some opens again. And I still got to run some master tests, and then we'll qualify for Master National in Shira in the following year. And after that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I ran one SRS with Memphis when she was young, and we got our butts whooped. And then I ran one last summer. I judged one. That was fun. And I ran one last summer. I think that one is a different animal, right? Like
For sure.
you go against like a Carter Turner, Lyle, Clark, Steven, Luke, name those people consistently win.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
Just saying. And then the
I get
amateurs
it.
who consistently win are their clients.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm not trying to sound like a sore loser or anything like that, but those dudes know those rules so tight that, like, for instance, when I missed the finals by like 9 points or 19 points or something like that, I don't really know the rules. So, like, I
Yeah.
probably, if I was more well versed like those guys, because they've ran a boatload of them, I probably would have not blown a whistle that racked up 7 points, or I would have blown a whistle quicker and kept a wandering thing that was 10 points, or this or that. And all of a sudden, I'm in the finals because of my lack of experience in them. So it would be something fun to kind of dabble with more. There's the same deal as HRC. We'll have one or two in the north. And then when I
Yeah.
go south and they're running them, my dogs have had duck season off and 4 months off. They don't need to be going doing double poison birds and
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
a tough game. And unless
Yeah.
you really dive in 110%, that's the only way you're going to beat those guys because they dove in 110%.
Yeah. Do you think the new idea of the hunting retriever trials will take off? That event where they'll pay you to win or place? And if you want to say no comment, you can say no comment.
I mean, I don't know. It's not a no comment thing. I'm not going to hurt anybody's feelings. I'd like to say yeah, because it's cool. It's a good idea, right? But I think that I don't know. I mean, people win money at SRS, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's quote unquote taken off, but it's not like Master Nationals filling up with 1,200 dogs. It's
Yeah.
not like the Grand with 700 dogs. It's
Yeah.
the same 75 to 125 dogs. It's the
Yeah.
same ones.
And
So I'm not knocking, and I'm trying to be, I mean, professional within reason, but like I'm not knocking any of it. It's bad. All of it is cool. But to see it, I would think that it would be difficult to blow up because you've got to draw all these other people that are financially putting their dogs in all these other events. Now we're adding another one and say, you might be like, you might win $5,000. It's like, sweet. One dog
Yeah.
wins $5,000
And it
or
kind of goes
whatever it's
back
going to be.
to And it kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier. You know, you said you're an AKC guy because you don't have all of the time in the world to dabble in all of these other things. I mean, think about like the amateurs out there who like we have like full-time jobs and we're trying to do this. We're throwing in another one, another field trout. That's the only flaw that I really see in it too, because
Yeah.
you know, it's
And
another
they could
thing
have, I
to
don't
do.
know, maybe they'll do an amateur division and a pro division, which I think would be good. And
I think they will. Yeah. I think I saw that.
yeah, I think that would be very smart of them to do that. But there are some unbelievable freaking amateurs like that are better than my dogs, right? Like it is. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. I just don't know, man. I think it's a great idea. I would love to see it take off, but and maybe it will. But what does your definition, yours? What does the person who started its definition of success, and what's my definition of success? It's all different. It's subjective. If they get 100 dogs to sign up for their big deal, that could be a huge success.
Yeah.
I would say that was like a weekend master test has 66 and they fill up in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So
No, I
I don't
get
know.
it.
It's I don't need to be negative about it. Just kind of more or less being realistic of saying I would love to see it take off. I think it would be fun as hell to do, and it'd be fun to win, baby.
Yeah.
I'm just not certain it's going to be the next big thing.
Yeah. I get that.
Two more. In 100 years from now, when you're not to be morbid, but dead and gone, do you think you'll be dead in 100 years from now?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
What do you want people to say about you in terms of what you did as a professional dog trainer?
We're getting back into therapy.
Yeah. Full circle, Bob.
We got deep on this retriever handler podcast.
I think as a trainer that I was successful, right? Like I did a good job for my clients and the dogs. I think in the lone duck world, I hope that I was able to help a lot of people, right? With the podcast, with the YouTube, with the course, with the Patreon. I hope that they can look, people would, first off, in 100 years, people aren't going to remember me. But I would say, I hope people would look back at what I've tried to do for our industry to make it less intimidating for someone to join a junior hunt test, less intimidating to join a retriever club, less intimidated to force fetch a dog, less intimidated to slap an e-collar on and let it rip, less intimidated to just do hand-thrown marks. I hope that what we've been building over the last few years and will continue to do will help a lot of people, because I was 17, 16 reading the books, watching Ducks Unlimited's Water Dog TV, watching the SRS on TV, watching, thinking Chris Aiken is a superstar, right? He's famous in our world. It's not that I want that accolade per se, but that influence he had on me as a young man who now does it for a living, who's, trying. I would hope that people kind of look at it and say, boy, Bob, whatever he put out there into the world to help people, that was good.
It's a good answer. It was almost like you had these questions beforehand.
No, I read a few of them. When you started asking what movie, I'm like, geez. But no, I did not think of that one beforehand. I think that one is real off the cuff.
This is the last question. On the way other end of the spectrum now, what advice would you give to your younger self, starting all of this out, knowing what you know now?
Therapy again. I think I would tell myself that I need to remember to put myself first and my family and those around me first. I didn't, and probably to some degree still don't, because they're live animals. They need to be
Yeah.
cared for. And
Yeah.
because I lived in a warehouse and ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and drank Busch Light and scrimped and scrounged and fought tooth and nail to try and make a living, I had a real fear of failure, not being successful, not being able to pay my bills, whatever the case may be. And so I allowed other people to kind of abuse my time. You know, the Sunday nights at 9 p.m. phone call. It's like, oh, it's my client. I got to answer it. Like, I don't do that anymore. You
Yeah.
know, I am trying to be a lot better about, saying yes to stuff like this, right?
Mhm.
Um, Saying yes to certain things, but also being able to say no, and that myself and my family and my friends and the kids, like they all need a piece of me too. Because if I do die and I look back and I just got a bunch of ribbons on the wall that I don't remember where that was or what dog that was, and I'm sitting in a room alone, that's going to kind of suck.
Yeah.
So I love what I do. I'm proud of what I do. I work really hard. I think I would just tell myself, do those same things, but make sure that you remember what some real priorities are. And that would be family and friends and your, you know, health and well being and all that jazz. And so, to anybody who's thinking about doing this for a living or needed personal advice for you and your family, those are the things that you're going to probably be laying in your deathbed thinking about, not
Yeah.
the other stuff.
Yeah.
Time is precious. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
It's a great answer.
Yeah.
Usually at this point, I would say like plug in your social media, but everyone knows who the hell you are, so you don't have to do that. But if you do want to say like where to find your courses or how to join your Patreon,
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, first off, I appreciate you both having me on. It was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed talking about it. It's fun to reminisce about the journey because it's wild when you really start talking about it. I forget half the stuff until people ask.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody who's still stayed listening throughout this whole thing. You can check out our podcast. It's Lone Ducks Gun Dog Chronicles. The Zero to Duck Dog course can be found on our website, loneduckoutfitters.com, under the little tab that says courses. Just appreciate everybody's time and hopefully entertaining and educating and living the dream.
yeah, awesome, Bob.
We really appreciate it. This was a great conversation, and I really liked it.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. We know how busy you are. So
Yep.
for you to take
Precious.
for you to take time out of your schedule, it really means a lot to us. So thank you very much. We hope
Absolutely,
to talk
guys.
to you. Hope to talk to you again in the future sometime. But best of luck to you with all your hunt tests this summer.
Thank you.
And then hopefully we'll see you again sometime.
Yeah, let's do it again. Appreciate you both.
Awesome.
Everybody who tuned in, thanks so much, and we'll catch you later.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob.